शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, Thou abidest in all. Thou art all. Thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto Thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. We shall begin the service with the opening song. It is Peter has chosen very appropriate song for this evening, Be Thou My Vision. Please, you can join all of you.
This is an old hymn that has a nice Irish melody to it. So, be Thou my vision, O Lord of my heart. Not be all else to me, save that Thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night. Waking or sleeping, Thy presence, Thy light. Be Thou my wisdom, and Thou my true word. I ever with Thee, and Thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, and I my true child. Thou in me dwelling, and I with Thee one. Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou mine inheritance, now and always. Thou in Thy only first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure Thou art. High King of heaven, my victory won. May I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all.
Thank you, Peter. Om ब्रह्ममेतु मां मधुमेतु मां ब्रह्ममेव मधुमेतु मां ब्रह्ममेधया मधुमेधया ब्रह्ममेव मधुमेधया ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May the all-pervading Brahman be realized by us. May the absolute bliss be realized by us. May we realize Brahman, the absolute existence, which also is the absolute bliss. And let this be done through the purification of our understanding. May the Brahman be realized by me through the purification of understanding. May the bliss absolute be realized by us by purification of our understanding. And the existence absolute, which also is the bliss absolute, be realized by us by purification of our understanding. Since the topic is about seeing, let me quote something that I had read long back about who is the blindest of the persons. And one may say, well, the one without eyes. No, the one who refuses to see is the blindest person. The one who has no eyes, somebody else can, tell that person about it, and then the person could kind of get the idea. But the one who refuses to see, well, that is the blindest person. And why the person refuses to see? Because what is there actually to see is not pleasant. That is not to one's liking. And so instead of seeing, turns a blind eye. Or what actually happens, as we know in the politics and all that they do, that instead when the facts are not convenient, they invent the alternatives, alternative quote-unquote facts. So it is because they are more convenient, more pleasant. But, well, the problem with it is that after all the facts catch up. You can never avoid the truth. The truth is going to catch up. So, what happens by just trying to avoid seeing the facts is that we suffer, we become miserable ultimately, because whatever we thought would stay us only because we are seeing that, well, that doesn't happen. They were your imaginations, your wishful thinkings, they just fall off and the truth manifests. This is about today's topic, that seeing the God. One of our members said that, well, that's wrong. You should have said seeing God. This article "the" is superfluous there. In fact, it doesn't convey the right sense. No, but I have put it deliberately because there is the God, the all-pervading reality, and what we think about it. The two things are not exactly the same. God, the fact, the God that is, and that we do not see just because we don't want to see. Who wants to see God? Come on, take us a poll here. Who want to see God? Wow, good. Oh, lot of hands have gone up that we want to see God. Then there is absolutely no problem, we will see it. The only reason that we do not see God is because we are interested more in alternative facts. We are all politicians, that is why our life is shrouded in politics. It is, we want something that is pleasant. We have so many desires about things which are not real. They come and go. And because we are interested in those, we turn a blind eye to the fact that is God. God is here and now. Just open the eyes, the proper eye, not the eyes that we have turned towards the pleasant things, but the eye that is fired by the love, that the eye that sees the reality, that I will see God. And this is the most important purpose of religion, to make us see God. As Swami Vivekananda mentions in Jnana Yoga, that only the man who has, and I am quoting here, only the man who has perceived God and soul has religion. There is no real difference between the highest ecclesiastical giant who can talk by volumes and the lowest, most ignorant materialist. Mere intellectual assent does not make us religious. So, mere intellectual assent to certain truths, that is one thing, but that is not neither the purpose of religion nor the proof of it. It is, the question is, can we actually experience God or not? It is by logics. In the same place, Swami Vivekananda goes further to say logic, reason, science can never prove God except to give us some intellectual idea about it. The proof would be our irrefutable experience. God is. I experience God. And when you experience something, no reasoning can actually take it out. That is the highest level of proof that, well, I experience it. That's it. Your logic is just one means, but it falls short in comparison to the tangible, actual experience. So that is why the experience of God, I have seen God. And that is where the life of great mystics comes into picture. They have seen God. Sri Ramakrishna always used to say, yes, God can be seen. If you want to see, then there is a way that you can see the God. It is, he mentions in many of his conversations that are contained in the great book, The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, that God is there and God can be seen. But you have to take away your gaze from this so-called pleasant wishful thinkings, the alternative facts, and then you will be able to see the God. If you are busy with searching for what is pleasant to the senses, then you are sure to miss God. To quote, it is Sri Ramakrishna says, it is the chapter that is on Sri Ramakrishna is discussing various religious things at Adharlal Sen's house, 27th chapter in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And he says there, God can be seen, a very emphatic assertion. God can be seen. So all of us who raised hands that I want to see God can be assured. Let them be assured that yes, they can see God. But you have to apply the means for that. God can be seen. He can be seen through the pure mind and the pure intelligence. Through attachment to lust and greed, the mind becomes impure. And thus we do not see the truth. We are attracted by these things, the objects of lust and greed, and thus the mind becomes impure. You cannot see with that mind the God. It is in all Upanishads you will see this assertion again and again, that God is beyond our senses, beyond our intellect, and therefore cannot be seen. Kathopanishad mentions that this God that cannot be seen because it is beyond senses. But drishyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibi, that it is deep, hidden deep beyond the reaches of our sense organs and intellect. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudha. The words are very beautiful. Sarveshu bhute, in all beings, this God is there. God is there in all beings, but hidden. Hidden by what? By just covering that our ignorance has put on that. And therefore, although the God is, we are not able to see. But how can we see that? Can nobody see? No, it can be seen. Drishyate tu. It very definitely says, yes, it can be seen. Drishyate tu. How? By cleansing our mind and intellect. Agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibi. By cultivating our mind under the guidance of the scriptures and teachers, when we clean it, then we can see that yes, God is. What do you mean? God always had been there. I was not seeing, that's all. It is covered by all this dross of these sense objects, our attractions, our repulsions, our likes and dislikes. We get caught up in that, and thus we do not see God. Sri Ramakrishna continues further. The mind is everything. It is like a white cloth just returned from the laundry. It will take any color you dye it with. Knowledge is of the mind, and ignorance is also of the mind. When you say that a certain person has become impure, you mean that impurity has colored that person's mind. He continues further, God can be realized through all paths. It is not this particular religion or that particular religion. God can be realized through all paths. It is like you are coming to Dakshineshwar, where he used to live, that place where Sri Ramakrishna used to live. Many devotees go there, even from America. Many devotees, they take up that pilgrimage, going to Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna spent a lot of his days, especially the days of his ministration and spiritual practice, they were spent in Dakshineshwar. So, he says, just as you all have come to Dakshineshwar, it is, you came by carriage, by boat, by steamer, or on foot. You have chosen the way according to your convenience and taste. But the destination is the same. Some of you have arrived earlier than others, but all have arrived. So, what an assuring statement. Whatever path is suitable for us, whatever path that is closest to us, most convenient for us, we have to take up that path and proceed. I mean, the path is for going towards destination, not fighting whether my path is superior to your path and all that. It is nonsensical. We forget the use of the path. Path is for going to the destination. So one has to go to the destination sincerely using that path. So he continues further. God cannot be seen without yearning of heart, and this yearning is impossible unless one has finished the experiences of life. Means all on the alternative facts and whatever the pleasant things we think, they have to be left behind. If we still have the desires and liking about them, then one cannot really see God. Those who live surrounded by lust and greed and have not yet come to the end of their experiences do not yearn for God. The yearning is for all such things, money and our mates here in this world and all the likable experiences. He says the test is here. How many really weep for the God realization? People, they just shed bucketfuls of tears if money is lost, or if some relation has passed, some close somebody has departed, then their tears cannot be stopped. But how many have really cried for realization of God? Do we have really that yearning? Do we miss it? We say, hey, God realization, okay, if the God comes, maybe I will take a chance. But we are not yearning for that. The moment yearning starts, Sri Ramakrishna used to give the analogy, when a person starts yearning for God, that means there is the halo of dawn. Halo of dawn. When you see that, then you know that the sunrise is not far behind. The sunrise will be there because we are seeing the dawn. So, when one gets that yearning in life that I must see God, we have yearning for so many things that it is so many people shed tears if their club loses whatever the tournament it is. For that they are ready to shed tears. It is one my colleague in Boston, Swami told that that day was the last Sunday, Super Bowl. So he said that the police have cordoned off all those areas here, there. In Boston, all the Commonwealth Avenue, lot of barricades have been put. Said, why? The Super Bowl is happening there in Atlanta. Why they are doing things here? Wherever it happens, the fans, and whosoever wins or loses, the job of the fans is smash all the windshields of the cars and all that. It is because that really is in their heart, that our team won, the emotions are so high, cannot be controlled, so smash the cars. Our team lost, again that sorrow cannot be controlled, so again they smash the cars. So it is in both ways. So this is our emotions, our likes, dislikes have not much to do with God. And therefore it is no wonder that we are not seeing God. God can be seen. God can be seen. And if we understand this fact, we are on our road, we are on the track to get the happiness that we are wanting. Otherwise, in the name of happiness, we will be cheated because there is no happiness. They are just alternative so-called facts. And there is no happiness there at all. So, we crave for those things and keep on whirling around in the world, thinking that tomorrow I will get it, which never comes. One gets old and then feels cheated. All these things around have cheated me. My job has cheated me. My colleagues have cheated me. My partners have cheated me. Well, first it started by myself cheating myself. It is. Then all other cheating is natural to happen. The main thing there is that the source of all happiness, satisfaction, peace is God. So if we are going there, if our sights are set there, then we will get it. Otherwise, frustration, that is going to happen. There is no, no escape from it. It will be a miracle if you say are seeing a nice candy in the mirror and you go to the mirror to grab it and then, oh, you got the candy from the mirror. Will it not be miracle? So similarly, if you get God, if you get happiness by running in the world, it is like that. It is the world of appearances. You will never ever get it. But if we go to the reality, to the truth, to God, then, although initially because of our attachments, we don't feel that very pleasant to keep on doing spiritual practice, to keep on controlling our all that habitual instincts, appears to be very problematic, very difficult, and we find out the ways to avoid it. And by avoiding it, although our teacher, our guru has told and one has agreed to also that yes, I will spend time in meditations, I will attend to do all those things for the realization of God. I agree to do all that, but then try to find excuses and not doing it. And we feel that we can cheat God like that. And we just cheat ourselves, nobody else. It is like that man who thought that he is cheating the airliner. He boasted to a friend, I bought a business class ticket for that travel, but didn't go. So who got cheated? The airliner doesn't get cheated, got its money. You got cheated. So in this world also, it happens like that. If we do not do our spiritual practices, nobody else gets cheated except ourselves. It is, so let us remember this. Sri Ramakrishna very compassionately again and again is telling, what is there in all the objects of your lust and the money that you are running after? There is no happiness in that. It is wonder that in the same verse that I quoted from Kathopanishad, there is a commentary of Shankaracharya there, that although God is everywhere, yet covered by this ignorance, people see I and mine where there is actually God. Covered by the ignorance, they do not see it. That is how our perceptions are. They are full of ignorance, and thus we miss that. So let us have to begin with, understanding this and feeling this with great urgency, that I have to realize God. That yearning is the first thing, that how the mind can be turned towards God. And Sri Ramakrishna, the great Vedantin that he was, like all the teachings of Vedanta, very practical. They don't just tell you, you should do this, but how you should do this, that also is told with all details. So, Sri Ramakrishna continues, as your attachment to the world diminishes, your spiritual knowledge will increase. Attachment to the world means attachment to the lust and greed. This is attachment to the world. The more it decreases, the more your mind will become purer, and the spiritual knowledge, the knowledge of God, will increase automatically. The knowledge of God means we will start seeing God. That is what it is going to happen. He used to give another analogy also, that if you are moving towards east, the west is left behind automatically. You don't have to take up two actions, let me go to east and let me go away from the west. If you are going towards east, the west is left behind automatically. So it is like that, that if you are moving yourself away from these attachments, then you will automatically start seeing God. If you are moving towards, say, a source of fragrance, then as you move towards it, you will start feeling more and more fragrance. Exactly like that, as one traverses towards God, the mind will get more and more filled with happiness, filled with peace. And this happiness is very different in quality from what we get by the objects of senses. Like I ate a cookie and that I got pleasure. That kind of happiness is different from this happiness by feeling God. That happiness is springing from within, not from any object as such. This is the difference between the two. So, we will start feeling that happiness. We will be intrinsically happy. And again, if you see the life of Sri Ramakrishna, it is a great exemplification, a practicalization of these words. His happiness was ever there. There was no suffering in spite of many diseases happening, a lot of the cancer that he had to go through, and that ultimately was in the worldly sense responsible for the end of his life. even in spite of that, he was never devoid of happiness. Because his happiness was intrinsic. It was not by the touch of some sensual object that other ignorant human beings feel that will bring me happiness, Sri Ramakrishna's happiness. And it was being a demonstration, so our happiness also, if we walk on that path, we will see our lives also will gradually get filled by that same happiness. So, it is, and he tells that there is a gradation in that. As you control the attachments, greed, lust, and so forth, and turn your attention towards God, the yearning will increase, the love for God will increase. When there is love, then there is that feeling of yearning. Somebody whom you love a lot, oh, let me go and see that person. It is that somebody told me that, well, she will not be coming to the center. Why? What happened? Well, I am going to see my daughter. Oh, and the face of that lady was already showing that happiness, that I am going to see my daughter. So, that yearning is there, that yes, I am going to meet somebody whom I love. So, there is that yearning. So, when the love for God is there, there is the yearning also that gets accompanied, and it increases as the love increases. There are the different levels of this yearning and love. He says that commonly what is called love gets converted as it intensifies into, he has used the Sanskrit words, and the translator also has not changed those Sanskrit words for the lack of better English words. So, and every language has some special words that are very difficult to translate in other language. So he uses the word bhava. He says that it is not given to everybody to feel prema, the ecstatic love of God. Chaitanya experienced it. An ordinary man can at most experience bhava. Bhava is where, because of your intense love, you start feeling the presence of divine around you. The love of God makes you start seeing the God, because that is reality. So you start seeing it, and then that love that becomes converted into the bhava. The Sanskrit word bhava means existence. Something that comes into existence, that is called bhava. So now you feel the tangible existence of God right there. Like that lady who wanted to go to see her daughter, already being on the contemplating about the journey, to some extent she had already started seeing her daughter. It is, I will be seeing her in 2 hours, I will be seeing her. And so, and how will she be receiving me, and so forth, and what I am going to talk to her, all those things, they start getting contemplated right on the way. So it is, already you start feeling God like that. There is a beautiful discussion about this in Srimad Bhagavatam, a great text of devotion that I am going to tell only a brief part of it, that one emissary was being sent to Krishna. His name was Akrura, with a chariot to bring Krishna to Mathura. The purpose was heinous, to kill Krishna by bringing there. But this emissary was a devotee of Krishna. So he took it up, this work, so that he will get the blessed vision and meeting with Krishna. And his journey from Mathura to Vrindavan is given with these details. Wonderful to read that as he started going, he started thinking of Lord Krishna. Oh, right now what he must be doing? Oh, okay, he must be with all his cowherd friends playing while tending the cows. They must be having that divine sport. Oh, how lucky, how blessed are these cowherd boys. They get to see Krishna every day. Today, I will also have their fortune shared by me. What a blessing. And he keeps on. Now they must be probably having their lunch. It is. And so he thought that, well, I also am getting to eat with them. Maybe they are eating this, maybe they are eating that. All thoughts are hovering about Lord Krishna because of love that keeps on happening. It is. So this intensity of feeling of God, that is called bhava. You don't have now any such stress of doubt about whether God is or God is not. You know God is, that is bhava. You feel irrefutably that feeling is there that the God is, as if you are seeing it. And then that develops further in tangible, actual experience as you get there. So, he quotes from a Persian book here. He says that in a Persian book, probably it is Hafiz's book that he is mentioning, it is said that inside the skin is the flesh, inside the flesh the bone, inside the bone the marrow, and so on. But that prema, the intense love, is innermost of all. One becomes soft and tender through that prema. One becomes very, very soft because sees God now present everywhere. It is, he says that love is the rope by which you can tether God, as it were. Whenever you want to see Him, you have just to pull the rope, because now you have the rope, so you can see God any time. Now you have a connection, a rope by which the God has been tethered. So, the mature stage of devotion is bhava. When one attains it, one remains speechless, thinking of the Satchidananda. The feeling of an ordinary man can go only that far. That also is a big stride. It is for the incarnation of God, well, it is already they are feeling that immense, the intense, immense feeling of presence of God all the time. So, that is not possible for ordinary being. When bhava ripens, it becomes mahabhava. When this feeling of God further ripens, now the purpose of the journey of life is now done. Now you don't have anything else to achieve. Now just merge with God. The journey is complete. You just step out of your car. Your GPS tells you you have arrived. And then you just open the door, step out of the car and get into the building you wanted to go. That's it. So you just enter the divine awareness, the journey of life is over. It is called the great bhava. Means now you are tangibly seeing it. You have arrived there. You are seeing, like when you are seeing Vedanta Society, you started driving from your home, and then you were seeing, maybe if you were using GPS, the distance and the time to get to Vedanta Society was reducing, provided you were on the right path. Then the distance was reducing, the time was reducing. It is so, like Anupam, how long does it take from your home? 1 hour? Yeah, so when you started driving, and then at the GPS it would show 60 minutes, then 55 minutes, and so you feel convinced you are getting there. But now you see the building, you see the parking lot, you drive there, put your car, and now you have arrived. You are seeing the Vedanta Society right there. Now I have to just go there and then listen to the lecture or whatever. So it is, that is how one can see God. That yes, I am right in that presence now. It is, and since the purpose of life is done in ordinary human beings, as Sri Ramakrishna says, that the life will come to a halt. When the body will be cast away within 21 days. One of our members told me, when I was telling her about doing meditation and all that, she exclaimed, no, I don't want to do meditation that intensely, because then I will have to die in 21 days, you see. So, it is, what happens, what is the problem if you die? Suppose you are going to die after, say, another 50 years or so, or 100 years. What difference is it going to make just carrying along the load of life for longer time? It is, finish the journey and that's, you are done. It is, but you have to get to the destination. If you don't get to the destination, the journey continues. This life may be over, but the journey won't be over, and so it will have to continue further. So it is important that we complete the journey. As we complete the journey, this is the mature state of devotion. The God is being now tangibly felt. He is right here. Now I am in the presence of God. No more questions and no more this vacillation. What am I going to do with God? All that disappears. Like it used to be, you think, when I meet God, I will do like this, I will tell Him like this, I will ask God these questions, all that. But when you actually see all that, the questions, everything gets automatically resolved. You do not have even the capacity to ask any question. You become that. It is so overwhelming a perception. So it is, they tell that how, if you pray to God with yearning, the God grants you all that. So he tells about a story that once Rama was pleased with the prayer of Narada and told him to ask for a boon. Ask, oh Narada, I am pleased with your praying. Ask for a boon. Now this was a trap. The boon is a trap. And do you want something from me or you want me? So Narada, a real devotee, says that, O Rama, please grant that I may not be deluded by thy world-bewitching Maya. Rama said, that is all right, but ask for something else. Narada replied, I don't want anything else. That means that boon was granted. Do you see this? That do not, I need not be bewildered. I should not be bewildered by your world bewitching Maya. Bewildered by that, we keep on asking so many things. But since Rama has given the boon, okay, that ignorance, that Maya will not touch you. Now he doesn't want anything. It is only in ignorance that we seek this and this and this. Now that Maya is taken away by the grace of Lord, now nothing more is asked. How can a devotee attain such love? How can we attain such love? First, the company of holy people is to be sought. That awakens Shraddha. And what is Shraddha? Faith in God. Then comes Nishtha. These are all steps, as what is this? When you are in the company of a holy person, then you get this feeling by observing that person, that there is this source of happiness that this person has got, that there is, this person is happy, this person is in peace, this person is contented, and that is what I want. And so it is, you can see actually that such a state can be had. That is called Shraddha. Although you don't see it, now you got a faith that such a thing is. It is very much like that you meet somebody who has gone to that African safari, and then you see that, wow, that must be a very nice place, such a thing exists because this fellow had gone and can tell me how to get there. So it is exactly in the same way you see that a person who has actualized, seen the God, and this brings Shraddha, that the faith. The faith has to be qualified here. It is not just the faith like believing, yes, God is. It is just nodding head. You don't do anything. Most people, let us say, they accept God is, but they do not do anything about realizing God. Just, yes, I think that God is. I am a believer. But you do not act on that belief. So, Shraddha is a dynamic faith that yes, I know that African safari is, I must go there. And you start planning, making efforts and so forth. So, God is, now let me see how to realize that God. Then that becomes now Nishtha. Nishtha means now you grab hold of it, you take hold of it, that yes, like you have, that just thought of going, made a resolve that I must go to African safari. Now you make a plan, book your tickets and so forth. Now it is a kind of plan has changed into a schedule. Everything is now in place to go there. And then this Nishtha, therefore, he qualifies that as single-minded devotion to the ideal. Now no more other things. This is the way that I want to go. It is not my now job who wins the election and what happens to the world and what my children are going to do. It is not at all now my botheration. I have only one single purpose, that it is, I want to realize God. I am not concerned about anything else. So this is how one progresses. It is, then all the actions change and so forth. It is And so, this is how one progresses to that path. Meister Eckhart, the great mystic, he mentions therefore that how is this path? It is when our attention is on this creation, then we cannot get that. Where the creature ends, there God begins. God asks only that you get out of His way, in so far as you are creature, and let Him be God in you. The least creaturely idea that ever entered your mind is as big as God. A very beautiful statement that even the least creaturely idea that enters you is as big as God, because that prevents God from entering me. Like a small cloud. Compared to the size of sun, the cloud is very small, but it covers the sun. You can't see the sun. Exactly like that. It is, you can't see God. Because it will keep God out of you entirely. The moment you get one of your own ideas, God fades out, and Godhead too. It is when the idea is gone that God gets in. So, God desires urgently that you, the creature, get out of His way, as if His own blessedness depended on it. Ah, beloved people, why don't you let God be God in you? That is what the striving means. Let the God be the God in us. It is everywhere. But how do we see it? By just being that God in us. That is why Meister Eckhart mentions the same truth that we saw in Vedanta. You can't see God with these eyes. With your eyes, you will never be able to see God. Which eyes? The eyes with which God sees you. When they become my eyes, then I will be able to see God. That is the God. Otherwise, it is whatever our perception, our ideas about God, that we will be seeing. And that becomes then God all-pervading. Swami Vivekananda says, in our whole life, we have never seen actually anything but God. Because God alone is. Instead of seeing that God, our sullied mind sees all these I and mine, so many images that come and go, and we get attracted, attached, caught in those images, and thus can't see the truth, can't see the God. So we have to learn to use that the eyes of God. God alone is, and the way is to develop love for God. That which is, that which comes and goes, that which has name and form, that is not real, that is just appearance. And therefore, let us not get attracted and attached to those things, and then gradually we will start feeling very tangible presence of God in and around us, and we will see God. Thank you, friends. Let us meditate for 30 seconds, and then if you have any question, you can ask. Yes. So since there is a question. Oh, okay. Oh.
You said when there is bhav, then you start seeing God. Sometimes bhav is translated as a spiritual mood. So if you say reading some holy scriptures or listening to some holy person, and you start thinking, wow, what great ideas. Is that what you call start seeing God?
See, when start seeing, when at the level of bhava, means you get a conviction, and in a way you start seeing that it is. That, okay, you get the conviction that that divine is there. When you read some inspiring teachings from Sri Ramakrishna or from Upanishads, from whatever source, then that impression comes to you that yes, God is. And then that feeling is bhava. Its intensification it is like, reduction of the black, means in the grey areas come before it becomes white. Exactly at what point it becomes white is difficult to say. So bhava matures into that vision of the divine, Mahabhava, as it says, that it is like driving. Gradually you start seeing, now this is Vedanta society, I am seeing it. So that is, the bhava is feeling of that existence, conviction about it. But then you follow that conviction, and thus you come to the actual realization of it. Yes, Raymond? Please, I could not hear what you were saying. Can you be a little loud? I am getting old,
Some of the mystics have described the idea of seeing and knowing that they are seen, which is the analogy that you use in a little different direction, the idea of seeing with the eyes of God instead of seeing with our worldly eye. I think it's the same thing.
Yes. When somebody says, a mystic says, I am seeing God, that means it is being seen by the pure eyes, devoid of any lust, any greed, any idea of possession, any idea of ego. Then those eyes can see God alone. Yeah, that is how these are the mystical eyes. The eyes of God. Yeah. Yes, John?
How could you discern between a person that says they saw God, delusionally, and a person who saw God?
A very good question. Very good question. If somebody says, I have seen God, then there are the effects of that vision on the character of that person. Your question is the one that was, very beautifully discussed in this second chapter of Bhagavad Gita at the end, because the same question was asked by Arjuna, that, okay, Krishna, you told me all this knowledge, but let me just ask, what is the difference between a person who has seen this, who is established in this wisdom, and an ordinary person? That how this person established in wisdom, how does that person walk, how that person talks, how that person does all the ordinary works that a common person does. Is there a difference? And the Lord tells that, well, there is a big difference. But the difference is within, and expression is without. With the expression means that person also does the same, that person also, like ordinary people, eats from the mouth, not that he puts food in the nose, walks on the legs, not on the hands. So it is same from outside. What is different? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushta sthita prajnastadochate. That this person has completely, without exception, given up all desires and is established completely in the bliss and sense of fulfillment. It is Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha, is happy within himself or herself, whatever. It is one in, that is this happiness that does not depend on any external situation. So that is the sign, the happiness. And the automatic expressions, secondary expressions of that person does not get tormented by the opposites that you encounter, doesn't get upset and angry, is same to the friends and the foes. That person has the same love for everybody. So this is how the life of this person is happening. That person is peaceful, doesn't feel aggravation if somebody treats that person with great honor or somebody condemns that person, is not at all perturbed by anything. That is the sign of that person who has realized God. Not that it is a matter, somebody who says that I have seen God and seeks fame on the grounds of that, then, that person has not seen God. Yes, Madhu?
With this eye we cannot see the God, but we can feel the God. Creation is the God, I think so. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna shows the Vishwarupam. All the Vishwarupam is the God.
Well, it is not God as you see it. It is the appearance to show that even this whole universe comes and goes, God alone remains. So you have to transcend these appearances to be able to see the God. That is why that Vishwarup was shown. That look, even the so-called such big forms, they also are just manifestations of God. God appears in all these forms. So therefore, do not get attracted to anything big or small. Everything is God. Yes, that is to be perceived, and to perceive that you require different eyes. That is the idea. Yes, Vailuko?
You talked about how Ramakrishna didn't suffer, he was always happy.
Yeah.
But reading his biography, it sounds like there's a lot of times when he isn't happy. Like he was very anxious when Yogatmananda wasn't around, was worried, like to me anxiety.
Well, yes, that's a good question. Many people ask this question. Yeah, but it is like his anxiety, his crying also. He cried bitterly in his biography you read, many times he cried bitterly. But how was that crying and anxiety was, like an actor acting in a movie with all tragic incidents. Then in the movie, it is the actor is crying. Actually, the actor is not suffering at all, because knows that it is all only in the movie. The actor maybe, put in the prison or lashed or whatever. The actor shows there, cries bitterly. And in fact, in movies they cry more than they actually cry. It is like that. It is because he's happy actually that he's doing the acting very well. So Sri Ramakrishna's life was like that it is all for the people to understand. Otherwise, nobody would consider him as human being. If you don't look upon him as human being in appearance and divine in content, the purpose of God incarnating as a human being does not get served. That is why there are all those relative expressions to his life, that he is seen crying. There is many incidents like that, where now one very telling incident. He was walking in that divine mood and then fell on the railing and broke his hand. And now he was crying and showing everybody, oh, my hand is broken, it pains so much and all that. And then while this is happening, he is falling into samadhi every minute. It is so. One of his disciples says there that, you are fooling everybody, nothing has really happened to you. And Sri Ramakrishna explains, this rascal has caught me, you see. So that is how the difference is. Yes, Carol?
Is it correct to say that the true reality is contentment, satisfaction, and bliss? The true reality.
That the true reality is that Satchidananda, the absolute existence, the absolute bliss, absolute contentment and peace. Yes, that is the truth. Yes. So let us. Okay, yes, please. I forgot your name. You had come some long time back.
You mentioned that all the different paths can take us to that same goal of godliness, but can they be done at the same time? Like you have to just choose one path and that's how you get to the destination, or
No, yes, that's a good question. Many try to do that, which is not the right thing to do. It is just as you cannot be traveling at the same time in a plane and in a train, you see. So you can go by any path, but you have to hold on to that path till you realize the goal. That is what Sri Ramakrishna showed in his life. He travelled by all these paths, but when he was travelling by one path, he held fast to that path at the exclusion of other paths. So you cannot simultaneously follow half a dozen paths, you say. No. It is, you have to follow one path. It is, and then get there by using that path, which itself takes for almost all of us, the intensest effort. I don't know if there is a word like intensest, but intensest efforts are lifelong. So going by several paths, one after another, is not given to ordinary human beings. It is, you follow a path and get there. That's it. If one tries to follow several paths, one will not be able to go by any path and will not be able to reach the destination. That is what Sri Ramakrishna has mentioned many times in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, that use one path and get there. So while Vishwanath is doing the offertory, let me tell you about the programs, upcoming programs. Next Sunday it will be Chester Bonsek. He will be speaking. His topic is direct disciples, direct teachings, and direct knowledge. He will be speaking directly to you about it. So it is other programs during the week, the Tuesdays and Fridays classes, they will go on as usual. You are welcome to attend all these programs. I will conclude with the closing prayers. Then there will be the Arati and soup supper. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, our Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.